Hey everybody, Nick Espinosa, your chief security fanatic here, and today we're actually talking about Tiger Woods, though we're not talking about golf. Now, if you didn't know, he got into an accident, a car accident, and I think his car accident proves that even when we don't remember what happened to us, our technology does and can possibly get us into trouble. Now, here's what's going on. This is coming from the LA Times. So Tiger Woods, who got into a car accident a couple weeks ago, told authorities that he doesn't actually remember the rollover crash that landed him in the hospital with extensive leg injuries. This may actually, from what I understand, impact very negatively his career. I don't really follow golf, but everybody knows who Tiger Woods is. Now, his SUV, though, remembers. It remembers everything. Now, like other modern cars and trucks, his car, the Genesis GV80, he was driving this when he crashed, is equipped with a ton of electronic data recorder and other computer hardware equipment that is basically meant to serve as a digital witness, and it's filled with information that investigators can use to piece together the seconds before and during this crash. Now, this gets really interesting, and this will dovetail with cybersecurity and privacy. I'm sure you know where I'm going with this. Now, the devices are part of a broader array of safety technology built into many new vehicles. Vehicles like the Genesis line, which is the luxury brand from Hyundai, also feature things like artificial intelligence software that essentially is supposed to track the driver, sending alerts if it detects things like the driver is distracted or closes his eyes while driving and all of this. I actually witnessed that firsthand on a recent business trip when Enterprise Rent-A-Car, instead of giving me like the default Infiniti or whatever, actually gave me a brand new BMW for the same price. Basically it would tell me like, hey, like stay in your lane, or hey, do you need to pull over and get some coffee or something like that. It was actually really interesting to witness. I've never had a car that has done that, but it is not surprising, though, that basically part of the effort that authorities have to understand what led Tiger Woods to lose control, essentially on a very curvy road in California on February 23rd, the investigators then from LA County Sheriff Department executed a search warrant this week to retrieve the data that was contained in the SUV's computers, and I will get to that search warrant shortly. Now, information on how fast Tiger Woods was going, whether he ever hit the brakes, and other obviously indicators could be critical to reconstructing the crash. Now, according to Deputy Carlos Gonzalez, who was the crash lead investigator in the case, and he was also the first deputy to arrive on the scene, he has publicly said that he did not observe anything that led him to believe that Woods was under the influence of anything like alcohol or drugs, and so he wasn't tested for alcohol, drugs, narcotics, or prescription, or anything like that. According to him, basically Tiger Woods was calm and lucid, and if you've ever been to in a bad car accident, I have, that's the adrenaline. You are very aware, even though you are in a lot of pain, you just don't realize it. The police also said that there was no evidence that suggested his actions rose to reckless driving, but his car could tell a different story. Now, data retrieved from the Genesis may actually reveal why Woods did not successfully navigate that curve. Under National Highway Traffic Safety Administration requirements, for basically more modern built vehicles, information recorded includes things like engine RPM, so they know basically how fast you were going, the steering capability that you had, the length and force of the crash, the G-forces on the car, and what braking occurred during the crash, if at all. And apparently what it seems like is that Tiger simply just didn't hit the brakes. Now, a luxury SUV like the Genesis may have also captured data to show whether Tiger Woods had received warning alerts for being inattentive or drowsy or anything like that before the impact that may have actually caused this. Now, to get to the privacy side of this, because that's ultimately where I'm going here, because Tiger Woods is obviously a very glaring example. He is national or international news in this sense, as a lot of people follow golf and follow this guy. But privacy advocates like the organization, for example, Privacy for Cars, are saying that vehicles' infotainment systems may also provide a plethora of information. So when the driver gets behind the wheel, like let's say this is Tiger Woods' personal car, he's typically going to synchronize his cell phone to the vehicle's infotainment system, and that basically creates a mini clone of their phone in the car. Getting contacts, it might connect to Android Auto or Apple's version of that as well. And so there's a lot of information that may be gleaned from the car that was pulled from his cell phone. And your cell phone, like your vehicle, is a sea of sensors collecting a ton of data on terms of speed, telemetry, elevation, all this kind of stuff. So it's going to be very interesting. Now, black box data like this has been used in vehicular homicide cases for about a decade or so. Obviously, this is not a homicide case, but it kind of dovetails with this. So, for example, in 2012, actress Amy Locane, formerly of Melrose Place, was convicted of second-degree vehicular homicide and fourth-degree assault by a vehicle in a 2010 drunk driving fatality, and that's a case that the judge allowed the use of black box data in her SUV. So the question then becomes, the police saw, okay, we see no skid marks. This is Tiger Woods. He's elusive. He doesn't look like he's high or drunk or anything like that. So, hey, it's a sharp curve. It's a neighborhood he doesn't know well, and I have heard that curve is very sharp, and therefore he's okay. But his car might be like, he was totally distracted. He's messing with the radio. He's looking out the window. Whatever that is. Maybe he's falling asleep. Whatever that is, the car is going to let them know. And the car is also going to say, he didn't brake at all, or he attempted to brake, or he didn't slow, or he sped up through the curve, or whatever that is. Our cars essentially become witnesses to ourselves. Now, because the police need a warrant to retrieve this information, I think that's a very important thing. This also does not mean that Tiger Woods is culpable of anything. In a case like this, getting a warrant would be pretty standard because they want to make sure that they have all the facts and information if they need to charge Tiger Woods or anybody else in this situation with some kind of crime. And so understand that when you are getting into your vehicle, and I've done videos and podcasts on vehicles before, primarily when you get that rental car and you get it, and now you've got, let's say, the previous occupant of that rental's car information right out of the infotainment center, because they're horrible with security. They also don't update these things. I mentioned that too, that a lot of these cars go for years without doing things like updating Bluetooth, which makes them very easy to hack and hijack. This is the kind of stuff we're talking about. So I'm curious to see where this goes, but understand that when you're behind the wheel, you're not the only witness. If you have some kind of altercation or a crash, your car is a witness too, and oftentimes the data doesn't lie. So that is your news of the day. Heads up to you, and obviously, hopefully, Tiger Woods and anybody else that got into a car crash since then is walking okay. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP, and please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe and stay online. Thanks, everyone.